In a world where every secret has its keeper, Linda Lunsford's disappearance remains a tale without a teller, a puzzle that defies the pieces, a story that silences the voices. What happened to Linda? The answer is a whisper away, and we're here to amplify it. Join us on a journey through the fog of the forgotten as we chase the elusive truth behind the mystery. This is where the trail warms up, and every shadow could hold the key. Don't miss a moment. On Verdict. On the day following Christmas in 1996, Linda Lunsford was expected to retrieve her daughters post her evening job. However, she never did. Shortly after her shift ended that morning, Linda disappeared, leaving no clues. During the investigation, the police focused on a person close to Linda, who was the last to see her before she went missing. But they needed solid evidence, not just suspicions, to crack the case. Tragically, it would take Linda's family a quarter of a century to obtain the proof required to charge the guilty party. On Christmas Day in 1996, Linda, a 38-year-old mother of 5, was working the night shift. She was employed at the Walmart in the Village Marketplace shopping center in Chesterfield County, Virginia, ensuring the store was ready for the post-holiday sales. By 8:30 a.m., Linda and her colleague John Howard had completed their shift. They decided to have breakfast at a nearby fast food joint. Linda and John had a history of dating intermittently and had begun a relationship about 6 months earlier, which Linda had eventually ended. Linda had become fond of John's children during their brief time together, so she aimed to maintain a cordial relationship with him. They were also co-workers, and Linda wanted to avoid any discomfort at work. Linda planned to visit her mother's house to pick up her 3 daughters after breakfast, but she never showed up. As time passed, her family's worry grew. Her mother was left wondering where Linda could be. Sticking to a strict schedule was crucial for Linda, who worked 3 jobs to provide for her children. Being late was not an option, as it would disrupt her entire day. The family's search led to a disturbing find. Linda's 1994 burgundy Nissan Sentura was parked outside the Food Lion store in the Village Marketplace, locked and without Linda in sight. No signs of a struggle were evident in the car, yet her family remained alarmed. That evening, they reported Linda as missing to the Chesterfield police, urging them to act swiftly. They emphasized that such disappearance was highly uncharacteristic of Linda, a mother devoted to her family. The police reviewed the surveillance footage from Linda's workplace and concluded that she had left willingly. Attention then shifted to John Howard, the individual last seen with Linda on the day she vanished. During interrogation, he acknowledged their breakfast meeting that morning. However, a conflicting account emerged from John's children. They reported to the authorities that Linda had been present at their residence that same morning, contradicting John's initial statement. Challenged with this discrepancy, John altered his narrative, asserting that Linda had visited to discuss their past relationship. He expressed a desire to rekindle their romance, an aspiration not reciprocated by Linda. John maintained that Linda left his home unharmed that morning. Yet, the detectives doubted his veracity. Lacking other substantial leads, they concentrated their investigation on him. Scrutinizing his recent purchases, they noted John had acquired a garbage bin, lighter fluid, and adhesive tape shortly before Linda's disappearance. Individually, these items might seem innocuous, but under the circumstances, they were suspicious. Convinced of his potential involvement, the Chesterfield police secured a warrant to search his property. They meticulously combed through his home for any trace of wrongdoing. The search yielded no new evidence, except for John's inability to account for the whereabouts of the purchased items. Despite the lack of concrete findings, the investigators remained convinced of John's connection to Linda's disappearance. However, intuition alone is insufficient in legal proceedings. Proof was essential, yet all efforts to uncover definitive evidence linking him or anyone else to the case proved futile. Time passed without any further sightings of Linda, and the investigation stalled. Then, in early May 2021, the Chesterfield police announced a breakthrough in the Linda Lunsford case. Years later, they believed they had gathered sufficient evidence implicating the 62-year-old John Howard in Linda's disappearance. He was apprehended on May 17th, pleaded not guilty, and faced trial in August 2022. In the courtroom, a video was exhibited, showcasing an initial interrogation conducted by a detective from the Chesterfield County Police Department with Howard. Howard conceded during the session that his bond with Linda was profound. He acknowledged encountering her the day subsequent to Christmas, yet claimed she departed from his residence on her own, and thereafter he never encountered her again. The legal proceedings spanned a week, culminating in the jury pronouncing John Howard culpable of ending Linda Lunsford's life, despite the absence of her remains. The precise nature of the evidence that underpinned the conviction remains undisclosed to the public. Matt Barlow, who was acquainted with both Howard and Linda during his employment at Walmart amidst college semesters, expressed his aspiration for the verdict to offer solace to their kin. As a father himself, he empathized with the distress of a mother striving to support her children, only to vanish. He pondered the impact on their existence, acknowledging the profound trauma and sorrow such an event would entail. Barlow, who had not met Linda's offspring, recalled her frequent mentions of them, indicating her deep affection. He lamented the tragic occurrence. He characterized Linda as amiable and sociable, in contrast to Howard's reserved and serious demeanor. Barlow recollected the disbelief that permeated the workplace upon learning of Linda's disappearance and Howard's status as a suspect. The revelation of Linda's vanishing left colleagues in a state of shock, instilling a sense of fear that lingered. Barlow mentioned that even subsequent visits to the store evoked memories of Linda. During his tenure at Walmart, he was privy to the circulating speculations regarding Linda's fate and Howard's potential involvement. While Howard awaited his sentence at Riverside Regional Jail, his legal representative sought to overturn the August verdict in November 2022, contending the lack of conclusive evidence of Linda Lunsford's demise and the insufficiency of circumstantial evidence linking Howard to the alleged crime. Legal commentator Russ Stone noted that the judge presided over a hearing and rejected the defense's plea to nullify the verdict. This marked the case's standing at that juncture, yet an unforeseen development arose. Howard succumbed on February 7, 2023, at VCU Medical Center while awaiting his sentencing. Howard's death ended the legal case against him. On February 2nd, his lawyer asked to delay the sentencing because Howard was sick. His lawyer, Greg Sheldon, said Howard was being treated for cancer during the trial. A report and a hearing were planned for February 21st in Chesterfield Circuit Court, but Howard died before that. Lakeisha Johnson from the medical examiner's office said they are still figuring out how and why Howard died. His lawyer mentioned that Howard had recently fallen in jail, hurting his eye socket, ribs, and brain, which needed 2 surgeries. Linda's family was heartbroken by this news. They didn't like Howard, but now they'll never know where he put Linda's body. Legal expert Russ Stone explained that without a body, it's tough to prove how someone died or who did it. Despite this, the court decided to keep the jury's decision. There was no effort to make Howard reveal where Linda's body was, which could have been part of his punishment. Linda's children didn't get to mourn or bury their mother. They're left wondering about her last moments and where she is. Hopefully one day they'll find her and bring her home.